80 years ago, on June 6, 1944, the largest amphibious assault in history took place on the beaches of Normandy, France. Codenamed Operation Overlord, this daring mission, now known as D-Day, marked a turning point in World War II and laid the foundation for the liberation of Western Europe from Nazi occupation. This video will provide an overview of what you can see and experience when visiting the historic region. But before we head off, I want to share a bit of my background. I'm a history enthusiast who used to work for the National Park Service and Smithsonian Institution. But I'm not specifically a D-Day or World War II historian. My grandfather served in the Pacific during the war, and my grandmother was a Rosie the Riveter. My plan is, by the end of this video, to help you have a baseline understanding to further explore the history of D-Day on your own. If you're interested in a more comprehensive look at the war, I recommend checking out resources by expert historians, such as the YouTube series World War II in Real Time. Simply put, the success of D-Day was the result of meticulous planning, exceptional coordination, and the collective bravery of Allied forces. The invasion plans were shaped by military leadership, while a massive deception campaign was launched to mislead the German defenders along the French coast. Upon the morning of D-Day, nearly 160,000 Allied troops from the United States, Britain, Canada, and other nations landed on 5 codenamed beaches: Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juno, and Sword. Despite facing heavy resistance and challenging weather conditions, the Allies persevered with the support of approximately 11,000 aircraft and 7,000 ships and boats. The scale of the operation was immense, ultimately involving over 2 million Allied personnel in the battle to liberate Western France. Sadly, the success of Operation Overlord came at a great cost, with significant casualties suffered by Allied forces, German defenders, and French civilians alike. Today, only a few thousand veterans who participated in the landings are still alive, the youngest among them in their late 90s. Join me as we step back in time and discover the lasting impact of Operation Overlord and the D-Day landings, remembering the incredible planning, coordination, and bravery required to pull off such a massive undertaking. I'm beginning this guide in the city of Cherbourg, a beautiful city in northwest Normandy that serves as a great staging ground for visitors. Cherbourg has a rich history dating back to the Roman era, and it's long been an important port city due to its strategic location on the English Channel. Cherbourg has played a significant role in various conflicts, including the 100 Years' War and the Napoleonic Wars. During World War II, the Germans recognized the importance of Cherbourg and heavily fortified the city, making it a challenging target for the Allies. After fierce fighting and a determined German defense, Cherbourg was finally liberated by American troops weeks after the D-Day landings. The city's deepwater port was crucial for bringing in supplies and reinforcements to support the Allied invasion forces. From Cherbourg, we move east along the coast to the D-Day landing beaches. One thing people don't realize when they visit Normandy is the scale of the invasion. The D-Day landings cover roughly a 50-mile wide stretch of shoreline along the English Channel. It's very unlikely you'll see everything this region has to offer, so it's important to prioritize based on your interests. There are too many museums, monuments, ruins, and locations for me to cover in one video, but I'll do my best to share the most popular sites. Utah Beach is our first and the westernmost of the 5 landing beaches. This landing consisted mostly of American troops, but they were supported by several Allied air and naval forces. Walking along any section of Utah Beach today, you'll be struck by the vast expanse of sand stretching out before you. The beach is wide and flat, with a gentle slope leading up to grassy hills. The miles of terrain are dotted with the remnants of German bunkers and fortifications. These weathered concrete structures serve as stark reminders of the obstacles that Allied soldiers faced during the D-Day landings. When exploring these ruins, you can gain a sense of their strategic placement and the Allies' daunting task of attacking such well-fortified positions. In and around the German structures are an intricate network of trenches and gun emplacements that the Germans constructed to defend this section of the coast. The engineering and effort that went into the defenses show the importance that both sides placed on controlling this stretch of beach. The most visited section of Utah Beach is the area around the Utah Beach Landing Museum. Around the museum, there are various monuments and memorials that pay tribute to the different aspects of the D-Day landings and the Allied forces who participated in the operation. They range from tributes to specific military units, such as the U.S. 4th Infantry Division and the French 2nd Armored Division, to memorials honoring the naval forces and the sacrifices made by the soldiers who lost their lives during the invasion. As you explore the grounds, you'll encounter monuments that highlight the incredible scale and complexity of the D-Day landings, emphasizing the unprecedented level of coordination between naval, air, and ground forces. Other memorials serve as somber reminders of the ultimate price paid by the brave men who fought against tyranny, ensuring that their courage and sacrifice will never be forgotten. Together, these monuments create a powerful and moving experience, offering visitors a comprehensive understanding of the various elements that contributed to the success of the Utah Beach landings and the larger Normandy campaign. They also serve as a testament to the international nature of the Allied forces and the shared commitment to fight against Nazi Germany. One monument I'll highlight is the Higgins boat, which gives you the chance to board an LCVP, which was instrumental in transporting troops and equipment from ships to the beaches during the invasion. This monument showcases the effort's ingenious engineering and lets you imagine the fear and bravery of the men who rowed these boats into the heat of battle. Now we'll head into the Utah Beach Landing Museum itself to examine exhibits that cover every aspect of the operation, from the planning stages to the aftermath of the invasion. Throughout the museum, you'll also find detailed explanations of military strategies, equipment, and logistics, which helps to provide a broader context for the individual stories and experiences of the soldiers, highlighting the scale and the complexity of the operation. A wealth of artifacts, photographs, personal accounts, multimedia displays, and exhibits bring the story of D-Day to life, offering a human perspective to an event that's easy to see as a unified goal. It's important to remember that each success that happened here was because of individuals working for collective goals. As we move inland from Utah Beach, we come to the Iron Mike Memorial, just outside the town of Sainte-Mère-Église. This monument depicts an American paratrooper and serves as a tribute to the U.S. 82nd Airborne Division. While the amphibious forces were fighting their way onto the beaches, the airborne troops had already parachuted behind enemy lines during the night. Their mission was to secure key objectives, disrupt German communications and supply lines, and prevent enemy reinforcements from reaching the beaches. The memorial captures the determination and readiness of the American paratroopers as they prepared to jump into the unknown, facing the dangers of enemy fire and the uncertainty of the terrain below. The statue's nickname, Iron Mike, is a testament to the toughness and resilience of these soldiers who were willing to put their lives on the line for the success of the mission and the liberation of Europe. The Iron Mike Memorial is located near a small bridge that crosses the Mulberry River. Capturing and holding this bridge was crucial for allowing Allied forces to move inland from Utah Beach and establish a foothold in the area. During the battle for the bridge, the paratroopers engaged in fierce fighting with the Germans, ultimately securing the bridge and the surrounding area. The house and bridge stand as silent witnesses to the determination of the airborne troops who fought here. 4 kilometers east of the Iron Mike Memorial, you'll find downtown Sainte-Mère-Église and the historic church at its center. This church gained worldwide fame during the D-Day landings when American paratrooper John Steele's parachute became caught on its spire, leaving him dangling helplessly as the battle raged around him. Today, a mannequin and parachute hang from the church's tower, commemorating this remarkable event. The scene has been immortalized in numerous books, films, and TV shows, most notably in the classic war movie The Longest Day. To delve deeper into the story of the U.S. Airborne Divisions and their role on D-Day, be sure to visit the Airborne Museum, located just across the square from the church. This museum is dedicated to the memory of the American paratroopers who landed in Normandy and features an impressive collection of artifacts, uniforms, weapons, and personal accounts from the soldiers who fought here. As you explore the exhibits, you'll gain a greater understanding for the challenges faced by these brave men and the harrowing night drops to the intense close-quarters combat in the streets and hedgerows of Normandy. This museum offers a look into the training, equipment, and tactics employed by the airborne divisions, as well as their significant contributions to the landings and subsequent Allied advance. The museum features a variety of interactive displays that help bring the story of the airborne troops to life, from the nerve-wracking moments before the jump to the chaos and confusion of the battlefield. One highlight is the opportunity to walk through an authentic glider, one of the few remaining examples of the gliders used to transport troops and equipment during the invasion. These silent workhorses of the airborne divisions played a crucial role in delivering reinforcements and supplies to the front line, often under the cover of darkness and the face of enemy fire. Speaking of the airborne, our next stop is the Easy Company 101st Airborne Memorial. Dedicated to the famous Band of Brothers unit, featured in the HBO miniseries and book. Early on D-Day, a small team of 12 men led by Lieutenant Dick Winters successfully destroyed a German artillery battery that had been firing on troops landing at Utah Beach. During the assault, a German map containing crucial information about enemy artillery and machine gun positions throughout the Corentin Peninsula was discovered in one of the gun positions. The monument, situated on the site of the daring artillery raid, emphasizes the impact of their actions on the landings. As we make our way back to the coast, we arrive at Pointe du Hoc, a dramatic 100-foot promontory looking out over the English Channel. This strategic location, nestled between Utah and Omaha beaches, was heavily fortified by German forces, with concrete bunkers and gun emplacements threatening the Allied invasion fleet. Upon arriving at Pointe du Hoc, you'll immediately notice the pockmarked landscape. These scars on the terrain are the result of the intense naval and aerial bombardment that preceded the landings, as Allied forces sought to weaken the German defenses before sending in the ground troops. When the U.S. Army Rangers from the 2nd and 5th Ranger Battalions arrived on the Normandy shores, they were tasked with scaling these steep cliffs under heavy fire to neutralize the German gun batteries. Using ropes, ladders, and sheer determination, the Rangers made their way to the top, only to discover that the main guns had been moved further inland. Undeterred, they pushed forward, locating and destroying the guns before securing the area. Today, visitors can explore the battle-scarred landscape and German fortifications, taking in breathtaking views of the Normandy coastline from atop the cliffs. Omaha Beach was the site of some of the fiercest fighting on D-Day. It was depicted in the famous opening to the film Saving Private Ryan. This heavily fortified beach, with its steep cliffs and formidable German defenses, posed an immense challenge for the American troops tasked with assaulting it. Despite the odds, the brave soldiers fought their way ashore and eventually secured a foothold on the beach. As you stand on the sands of Omaha Beach today, you'll be struck by its serenity, a stark contrast to the intensity and carnage that unfolded here in 1944. The steep bluffs above the beautiful beach once provided natural cover for the German defenses. One of the first memorials you'll encounter is the National Guard Monument Memorial, dedicated to the men of the U.S. National Guard units that participated in the D-Day landings. The monument features a large granite slab bearing the names of the National Guard units that fought on Omaha Beach, as well as a bronze statue of guardsmen in full battle gear. Further along the beach, you'll come across the Omaha Beach Memorial, a striking monument that pays tribute to the American soldiers who lost their lives during the landing. The centerpiece of the memorial is the Brave sculpture, which captures the raw courage and determination of the men who fought and died on this beach in the name of freedom. As you explore the beach, you may notice remnants of the Mulberry Harbor, an incredible feat of engineering that played a crucial role in the success of the Normandy campaign. These portable harbors allowed the Allies to quickly establish a supply line and bring in men, vehicles, and materials needed to sustain the invasion. But we'll have the opportunity to see a more intact Mulberry Harbor later at Gold Beach. Throughout your visit to Omaha Beach, you'll encounter various other memorials and markers that pay tribute to the different units and individuals who fought here. It's impossible not to be moved by the weight of history that permeates this hallowed ground. The memorials and monuments that dot the landscape serve not only as a tribute to the fallen, but also as a powerful reminder of the enduring legacy of D-Day and the importance of preserving the memory of those who fought here. Just a short distance from Omaha Beach, overlooking the shore where American soldiers once fought and died, the Normandy American Cemetery and Memorial serves as a final resting place for 9,388 Americans who lost their lives during the D-Day landings and the ensuing battles to liberate Europe. As you walk through the serene grounds of this 172-acre site, meticulously maintained by the American Battle Monuments Commission, you'll find yourself immersed in the powerful tribute to their sacrifice. The ABMC, a U.S. government agency established in 1923, oversees American military cemeteries, memorials, and monuments abroad. The Normandy American Cemetery is one of 26 permanent American military cemeteries managed by the ABMC across 17 countries, each maintaining their original design and layout to preserve their timeless appearance. As you make your way through the rows of pristine white marble headstones, you'll be struck by the number of lives lost. Each headstone bears the name, rank, unit, and home state of a fallen soldier on either a Latin cross or a Star of David. The rows of graves extend to the end of the cemetery, where a memorial stands. A towering bronze statue titled "The Spirit of American Youth Rising from the Waves" depicts a young American soldier emerging from the water, his hand reaching towards the sky. To gain a deeper understanding of the Normandy campaign and the individuals laid rest here, be sure to visit the cemetery's visitor center. In contrast to the Normandy American Cemetery, the Cambe German War Cemetery presents a somber and thought-provoking experience. Located near the town of Cambe, this cemetery is the final resting place for over 21,000 German soldiers who lost their lives during the Normandy campaign. As you enter the cemetery grounds, you'll notice a stark difference in appearance compared to the American counterpart. Instead of white marble crosses and Stars of David, the German headstones are made of dark stone and laid flat on the ground. The effect is one of solemnity and simplicity, reflecting the more subdued approach to military burial in German tradition. As you walk through this cemetery, you'll find that it's divided into several sections. Unlike the individual headstones at the American cemetery, the German graves often bear the names of multiple soldiers, a reflection on the heavy casualties suffered by German forces during the fighting in Normandy. At the center of the cemetery stands a large stone cross, surrounded by a circular burial mound. This central monument serves as a focal point for remembrance and reflection, inviting visitors to contemplate the human costs of war on all sides of the conflict. While the Cambe German War Cemetery may not have the same level of visitor facilities as the American Cemetery, it offers a unique perspective on the Normandy campaign and the sacrifices made by soldiers on both sides. The somber atmosphere and simple design of the cemetery serves as a powerful reminder that despite the political and ideological differences that divided them, the men buried here were all victims of the tragedy of war. Visiting both the Normandy American Cemetery and the Cambe German War Cemetery offers a complex and nuanced understanding of the human cost of D-Day and the wider Normandy campaign. As we make our way east from Omaha Beach, we'll pass through the charming fishing village of Port-en-Bessin. While not an essential stop for those focusing solely on D-Day history, this picturesque town is well worth the visit for its stunning harbor, delicious seafood restaurants, and lovely shops selling local crafts and souvenirs. Port-en-Bessin served as the dividing line between the American and British sectors during the D-Day landings, and its quaint streets and bustling harbor offer a glimpse into the traditional coastal life of the region. For those looking to spend the night in a memorable setting, the town's cozy accommodations provide the perfect base for exploring the beauty and flavors of the Normandy coast. Continuing our journey, we arrive at the Longues-sur-Mer Battery, a remarkable example of the German coastal defenses that once lined the Normandy coast. This battery, which consists of 4 152mm naval guns housed in massive concrete casemates, was a key target for Allied forces during the D-Day landings. As you explore the site, you'll have the opportunity to see the guns up close and even enter the casemates themselves. The battery's position atop a cliff overlooking the English Channel offers stunning views of the coastline and a clear understanding of the strategic importance of this location. Despite heavy bombardment from Allied ships and aircrafts on D-Day, the Longues-sur-Mer Battery remained operational and continued to pose a threat to the invasion forces. It wasn't until several days later that British troops were able to capture the battery after fierce fighting with its determined German defenders. Today, the Longues-sur-Mer Battery stands as one of the best preserved examples of the Atlantic Wall defenses, offering a fascinating glimpse into the German perspective on D-Day and the impressive engineering feats that went into constructing these fortifications. As we continue our journey along the historic sites of Normandy, we come to the town of Arromanches, located in the heart of the British sector of the D-Day landings. While the American forces were fighting their way onto the beaches of Utah and Omaha, the British and Canadian troops were tasked with securing the beaches codenamed Gold, Juno, and Sword. Arromanches, situated on Gold Beach, played a crucial role in the Allied invasion plans. The town was selected as the site of one of the most ambitious and innovative engineering projects of the war, the Mulberry Harbor. Mulberry harbors were massive artificial ports designed and constructed by the British to enable the rapid offloading of supplies and equipment in the days and weeks following the invasion. These incredible structures consisted of huge concrete caissons, floating roadways, and pierheads, all of which were towed across the English Channel and assembled off the coast of Normandy. Visitors can still see the massive concrete caissons that once formed the backbone of the harbor, as well as sections of the floating roadways that connected them to the shore. The Mulberry Harbor is a must-see destination for anyone seeking to understand the full scope and complexity of the landings and their lasting impact on the course of World War II. Located just a short walk from the remnants of the Mulberry Harbor is the town's D-Day Museum, which provides a fascinating look at the engineering marvel that was the harbor. The museum offers a comprehensive overview of the planning, execution, and impact of the artificial harbors through a combination of exhibits, models, and multimedia displays. One of the highlights of the museum is a detailed scale model of the harbor, which gives visitors a clear understanding of the various components that made up the incredible structure. The museum also features a range of artifacts and photographs related to the construction and operation of the Mulberry Harbor, as well as personal accounts from the men who worked tirelessly to keep the supplies flowing to the front lines. On the cliffs east of Arromanches, you'll find the D-Day 75 Garden, a beautiful space created in 2019 to mark the 75th anniversary of the landings. The garden features themed areas such as the Beach of Remembrance and the Garden of Reflection, each designed to evoke a different aspect of the D-Day experience. As you explore the carefully crafted landscapes and sculptures, you'll have the opportunity to reflect on the sacrifices made by those who participated in the invasion on the beaches below. Our next stop on the journey through the historic sites of Normandy is the town of Bayeux, located just a short distance from the coast. While not directly involved in the D-Day landings, Bayeux holds a special place in the Normandy campaign as the first French town to be liberated by Allied forces. Bayeux is a charming and picturesque town, with a rich history that dates back to medieval times. As you explore its narrow streets and ancient buildings, you'll find yourself transported back in time to a world of knights, kings, and conquests. One of the most remarkable features of Bayeux is its stunning cathedral. This magnificent Gothic church dates back to the 11th century. One must-see attraction in Bayeux is the famous Bayeux Tapestry, a remarkable work of art that tells the story of the Norman conquest of England in 1066. It serves as a fascinating glimpse into the medieval history of the region and the long-standing ties between Normandy and England. As you explore Bayeux, you can sample some of the region's famous cuisine. The town's restaurants and cafes offer a delightful array of local dishes, making it the perfect place to take a break from your historical journey and immerse yourself in the flavors and culture of the region. Continuing along the Normandy coast, we come to Juno Beach, the site of the Canadian landings on D-Day. Like their American and British counterparts, the Canadian forces faced heavy resistance from German defenses as they fought to establish a foothold on the beach and push inland. Despite the fierce opposition they encountered, the Canadians managed to advance further inland on D-Day than any other Allied force. Today, Juno Beach is home to the Juno Beach Center, a museum and memorial dedicated to the Canadian contribution to the landings and the wider campaign. The center offers a range of exhibits and explores the experiences of the Canadian soldiers who fought here, as well as the impact of the invasion on the local population. One of the most striking features of the Juno Beach Center is its design, which is meant to evoke the shape of a stylized maple leaf, the national symbol of Canada. The building is surrounded by a beautifully landscaped park, which features a number of monuments and memorials to the Canadian soldiers who lost their lives on D-Day and the battles that followed. Just to the east of Juno Beach lies Sword Beach, the easternmost of the D-Day landing sites. The goal of those who fought on this beach was to capture the city of Caen on the first day, but this proved to be overly ambitious. They were able to secure the beachhead, although they faced heavy counterattacks from the German Panzer Division positioned near Caen. Congestion on the beaches and the failure to capture Caen meant that the British were unable to link up with Canadian forces to the west on D-Day as planned. On the eastern flank, British and French commandos captured a key town after heavy fighting and linked up with airborne forces holding vital bridges. On the western flank, commandos were delayed by strong resistance. The Germans launched the only major armored counterattack of D-Day in the evening, with elements of the Panzer Division briefly reaching the coast before withdrawing due to Allied air attacks and the fear of being cut off by airborne reinforcements. Once again moving inland from the beaches, we make our way to the Radar Museum. This museum is housed in a former German radar station that played a key role in the defense of the Normandy coast during the D-Day landings. The station was part of the Germans' extensive radar network along the Atlantic coast, designed to detect Allied ships and aircraft approaching the shores of occupied Europe. The station was equipped with state-of-the-art radar, which could detect targets up to 80 kilometers away. The museum offers a unique perspective on the technology and tactics of World War II, with exhibits that explore the development and use of radar by both the Allies and Axis powers. Visitors can see a range of original radar equipment, including the preserved Würzburg radar, as well as interactive displays that demonstrate how radar worked and how it was used in the context of the wider war. It explains how the Allies used radar countermeasures such as jamming to confuse and disable German radar systems, helping to ensure the success of the invasion. Now we've arrived at the final stop on our tour of Normandy, which is also the first place that Allied forces liberated on D-Day, Pegasus Bridge. This small but vitally important target was captured by British airborne troops in the early hours of June 6, 1944. The bridge, which spans the Caen Canal, was a key point of access for Allied forces looking to move inland from the beaches to establish a foothold in Normandy. In a daring glider-borne assault, a small group of British soldiers landed silently near the bridge. They quickly overwhelmed the German defenders and secured the bridge, preventing its destruction. This action was crucial to the success of the British landings on Sword Beach, as it allowed troops and equipment to move quickly inland and reinforce the airborne troops who were holding the eastern flank of the invasion. The capture of Pegasus Bridge also prevented German reinforcements from crossing the Caen Canal and attacking the landing beaches. Today, the original Pegasus Bridge is on display at the nearby Pegasus Memorial Museum, which tells the story of the British airborne forces and their role in D-Day. The museum features a range of exhibits and artifacts, including the original glider that carried the brave soldiers to the bridge. The modern-day Pegasus Bridge, which replaced the original after the war, is still a working bridge that carries traffic over the Caen Canal. As we come to the end of our journey through the D-Day sites, I hope this video has given you a sense of what Normandy has to offer, from the beaches where Allied forces landed to the museums and memorials that honored the sacrifices of the fallen. Each of these places holds a unique piece of the story of D-Day. As we celebrate the 80th anniversary of D-Day in 2024, there's never been a better time to plan your own journey to Normandy and explore these locations firsthand. While this invasion is a favorite for tourists and historians, it's important to remember that this event and those forces that included the vital contributions of dozens of nations and the often overlooked African colonial forces who served bravely in various theaters of the conflict. If you take the time to delve deeper into the stories and experiences, you'll gain a much richer understanding of these events and their lasting impact on the world. And by remembering these efforts to fight back against fascism, we can honor those who came before us and protect ourselves from falling victim to the same kind of oppressive ideologies that led to the horrors of World War II.